conversation that made you question everything you thought you knew? Well, that's exactly what happened to one of the biggest stars in the world, live on television. And it all started with a simple question about diet. We're talking about the legendary Amitabh Bachchan. And a moment on his show, Kaun Banega Crorepati, that has the internet buzzing. A contestant named Jagesh Sharma was on the hot seat, and when the topic of his vegan lifestyle came up, nobody expected the conversation that followed. Bachchan, curious, asked him what being vegan really meant.
Sharma's answer was so powerful, so thought-provoking,
that it left the superstar visibly shaken, admitting, "You have opened my eyes." So, what did he say? What is this truth about the dairy industry that can make even a global icon rethink everything? Today, we're diving deep into that viral clip, exploring the ethical arguments behind veganism and discussing why this conversation is resonating with millions. Stick around, because this might just open your eyes too. For years, people have advocated for animal rights, but something has shifted. With the internet connecting us all, conversations about conscious consumption and animal welfare have exploded. We see it everywhere, in documentaries, on social media, and in the growing number of plant-based options in our supermarkets. Veganism isn't just a niche trend anymore. It's a global movement that's gaining serious momentum. And this recent moment on Kaun Banega Crorepati, the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, is a perfect example of why. The show is known for its high stakes and trivia, not for profound ethical debates.
But that's what makes this exchange so special. It wasn't planned.
It was a genuine moment of human connection and curiosity. Let's break down exactly what happened. Amitabh Bachchan, in his iconic hosting style, asked Jagesh Sharma, who had been a vegan for 7 years, a straightforward question. So you don't use anything that comes from an animal? Sharma's reply was simple, yet profound. He didn't preach or judge. He just shared his personal philosophy. He said, "I feel just like we want to live. They also want to live. I don't take anything that comes from an animal." He then focused on a product that many people, including vegetarians, consume without a second thought. Milk.
Sharma explained. Milk is made for the calf only.
No species can stay constantly pregnant their whole lifetime. They are artificially inseminated. I don't find it ethical. Let's pause on that for a second. This is the core of the ethical argument against dairy that often gets overlooked. Many people think of cows on a farm, peacefully grazing in a field, and being milked by a friendly farmer. But the reality of modern industrial dairy farming is very different. To produce milk, a cow, like any mammal, must first give birth. To keep the milk supply constant and profitable, dairy cows are put on a relentless cycle of pregnancy and birth. This is typically achieved through artificial insemination, a highly invasive procedure. Shortly after birth, the calf is separated from its mother. This separation is incredibly traumatic for both the mother and the baby. The mother's milk, which was intended for her calf, is cycle repeats year after year until the cow's body is exhausted and her milk production declines, at which point she is typically sent to slaughter. When Jagesh Sharma said, "No species can stay constantly pregnant their whole lifetime." He was highlighting the unnatural and forced nature of this system. It's a system built not on a symbiotic relationship, but on the exploitation of a female's reproductive system. This information hit Amitabh Bachchan hard. You can see the realization dawning on his face. His reaction was incredibly honest. He said, "I will go home today and feel troubled about this." He admitted that Sharma had opened his eyes to a reality he hadn't considered before. This wasn't an actor playing a role. This was a person genuinely grappling with a new, uncomfortable truth. And that's why the clip, shared by vegan creator Farrah Amber, went viral, racking up nearly 1 million views in no time. It wasn't just about a celebrity being surprised. It was about the power of truth, delivered with compassion. The online reaction was overwhelmingly positive. People weren't just praising Sharma.
They were also praising Bachchan for his openness.
One viewer commented, "It's so refreshing to see the audience clapping at the truth rather than getting annoyed by it." This is a crucial point. Often, when people bring up the ethics of our food choices, the conversation can become defensive and hostile. But here, the audience applauded. They recognized the sincerity and importance of the message. Another user said, "It's wonderful to see such a legend open to having his perspective changed. I hope his followers are as open as he is." This highlights the influence that figures like Bachchan have. His willingness to listen and be vulnerable sets a powerful example for millions of his fans. It tells them that it's okay to question long-held beliefs, that it's a sign of strength, not weakness, to change your mind when presented with new information. One of the most insightful comments read, "That's such a beautiful way of explaining it, without making the other person feel badly, but simply encouraging them to look with open eyes." This gets to the heart of effective advocacy.
Jagesh Sharma didn't use inflammatory language.
He didn't shame Bachchan for his choices. He simply stated the facts from his ethical standpoint. He created a space for curiosity, not conflict. This approach is far more likely to inspire change than an aggressive one. He appealed to a universal value, the desire to live, by saying, "Just like we want to live, they also want to live." He drew a line of empathy between humans and animals, encouraging Bachchan and everyone watching to see these animals not as commodities, but as sentient beings with their own interests. This leads to the broader conversation about cognitive dissonance. That's the mental discomfort we feel when we hold to conflicting beliefs at the same time. For many people, the conflicting beliefs are: I love animals and am against cruelty, and I eat meat and dairy products that come from a system that involves cruelty. To resolve this discomfort, we often create justifications or simply avoid thinking about where our food comes from. We tell ourselves it's natural, necessary, or normal. But moments like the one on KBC cut through that dissonance. They force us to confront the reality.
As another commenter put it, once you know the truth, There's no going back.
The question is, are you willing to make a change? And that is the ultimate question, isn't it? What do we do with this information? For some, like Bachchan, it leads to a period of feeling troubled. It is a process of reevaluating habits and traditions that have been part of our lives for as long as we can remember. Making a change, especially a dietary one, can seem daunting. But it's important to remember that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. The rise of veganism has been accompanied by a massive increase in delicious and accessible plant-based alternatives, from oat milk in your coffee to plant-based burgers that rival the real thing. It has never been easier to reduce your consumption of animal products. You can start with meatless Mondays or trying a vegan recipe once a week. Every small change sends a message to the industry that consumers are demanding more ethical and sustainable options. The environmental impact is another huge piece of the puzzle. Animal agriculture is a leading driver of deforestation, water pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. The land and water required to raise livestock and grow their feed is astronomical. Shifting towards a more plant-based food system is one of the most impactful things we can do as individuals to combat climate change. So, the ethical argument that Jagesh Sharma made is just one part of a much larger picture. The decision to reduce or eliminate animal products is a choice that benefits not only the animals, but also our planet and often our own health. What this viral moment truly teaches us is the power of a single, honest conversation. It shows that you do be an expert or a professional activist to make a difference. Jagesh Sharma was just a regular person on a game show who spoke his truth with kindness and clarity. And in doing so, he sparked a national conversation and potentially changed the perspective of a cultural icon. It reminds us that our voices matter, and that by sharing what we believe in a compassionate way, we can plant seeds of change in the most unexpected places. It's about opening a door for others to look through, not forcing them to walk through it. It's about encouraging people to look with open eyes. So, what do you think? Did this conversation make you rethink anything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this video insightful, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one!